Good morning, Casa Scholars. Today we're going to be working on our day 6 reading comp packet. So for today's lesson, you will need your reading comp packet listed April 6th through 17th, Unit 7, days 1 through 10. And we are going to be working with the worksheet that has the Kinder Unit 7 reading comp guided practice day 6. Now, this packet is 2 pages. There is 11 questions, so we're going to be doing half of it today and half of it tomorrow. All right. Before we start our worksheet, scholars, we are going to be reviewing what it means when a book is nonfiction, fiction, poetry, and how-to. We're going to need to know all 4 types of books in order to complete this worksheet. So let's jump right in and use our anchor charts to help us remember what each book means. Okay, let's go over to fiction first. So here we have our fiction elements anchor chart. Ready? Remember, let me put my phone down so I can do this with you. Fiction is a made-up story. Fiction is a made-up story. One more time. Fiction is a made-up story. Fiction books are made up. There are different elements that a fiction book can have. It only needs to have one. It doesn't need to have all 4. Let's review all 4. The first one is magic. The next one is impossible situations, like lifting up a house or running as fast as a car or eating 1,000 cupcakes and never getting sick. So the second one is impossible situations, and you're lifting up that house. The third element is monsters or made up creatures, like aliens and unicorns. So anytime that there's something that's not real in a book, we know that that's fiction. It's made up. So monsters or made up creatures. The next element is animals doing, people, things. We have a fish over there with a microphone. Anytime we see a book with an animal doing a person thing, like walking or talking or driving a car or going to school, we know it's fiction. So animals doing, people, things. Remember, those are what makes a fiction story. Fiction is made up. It's not real. So anytime we see one of those elements, we know something is fiction because it's being made up. The next type of book that we're going to review is nonfiction. Nonfiction books teach us about real things like planets and animals and people and trees. So, ready? Make my book, sorry. Nonfiction teaches us about real things. Nonfiction teaches us about real things. One more time. Nonfiction teaches us about real things. Nonfiction books teach us, and they teach us about real things. Now, one type of nonfiction book that we addressed and talked about this unit is called a how-to book. Okay, so a how-to book is something that teaches us how to do something. It's a book that says how to do something, and it's going to teach us. So here I have a picture of a person, and he's learning how to draw, and their book is showing him how to draw a planet. So that's what that is. Remember, how-to books teach us how to do something, and they usually say how to in the name. It's kind of a hint. The last book that we're going to, or type of book that we're going to review before we get started is poetry. Poetry, like fiction, has a bunch of different elements. It doesn't need all of them. It only needs one. So let's review poetry. Poems can have rhyming words like cat and hat. They can rhyme, sound the same at the end. It can have rhythm, so where you're reading it to where it sounds like you're singing a song, not necessarily reading like talking. It can have repetition, something that repeats over and over and over and over and over again. They are usually shorter than a story, and it can talk about emotions, how someone feels. So again, poetry doesn't need all those things. If it needs one of those things, or if it has one of those, then we know it's a poem. Now we're going to go back and we're going to begin using our worksheet. So we're going to start on number 1. Today's worksheet shows us different books and passages from the book, and it asks us to identify which type of book it is and explain how we know. So let's go to number 1, which shows us the book Harry Potter. It's called Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Let's listen to the text to see if we can hear some clues. Harry climbed into the flying car. He had been waiting all summer to get to see Ron. They zipped over the city as they headed back to Ron's house. Scholars, this book is about a person named Harry Potter, and right now all I know is that he's going in a flying car to see his friend. A flying car. Is that real? Is it teaching me how to do something? Does it have rhyme, rhythm, repetition, or emotion? Or is it something that could be magic, impossible, a monster or made-up creature, or an animal doing people thing? Could it be made up? Think about it for a second. I know when we talk about a flying car that that's something that is impossible. Flying cars don't exist, and we can't get in our car and fly over to our friends. So we know that this book is fiction. Let's look at our options and see if we can find fiction. A says fiction, B says nonfiction, C says poetry, and D says how to. We know this is an impossible situation, so we know this book is fiction. We're going to go ahead and circle A. And how do we know it's fiction? Well, I know because it has a flying car. So let's go ahead and write that. It, I-T, has, H, A, S, A, letter A, flying, F, L, I, ing, I-N-G, car, K, R, K, 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 C, R star, A-R. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 says, is this book fiction, nonfiction, poetry, or how to? The book's called Pete the Cat and the Cool Cat Boogie. Let's go ahead and read the passage about it. Pete put on his shoes and buttoned up his shirt. He could not wait to go to his school dance. He had been practicing his groovy moves all day long. Scholars, this book is about a cat that is putting on clothes and going to dance. That's kind of silly. He's going to go to a school dance. Think about that. Is that A, fiction, made up? B, nonfiction, about real things? C, poetry? Or D, how to? If you said fiction, you're absolutely right. This book is fiction, so you want to circle the letter A. We know this book is fiction because it's a cat doing people things. Let's go ahead and write that. Cat, K, K, C, A, T, T. Doing, D, O, ing, I-N-G. People, P, E, P, L, things. 3, T-H, ing, I-N-G-S. Good. Animals doing people things or a cat doing people things. Mingus, come on. Hold on one moment. I've got to get the doggy in. Mingus, come on. Let's go. You want to say hi? Say hi. This is our little puppy Mingus that some of you know about. He was outside, so he needed to be let in. I apologize for that distraction. All right, let's go to number 3, scholars. Turn your paper over. Number 3 is asking if the book is fiction, nonfiction, poetry, or how to. This book says how to play football. The complete guide to watch football and understand the rules and positions. Listen to the title again. How to play football. Scholars, we don't even need to read this text. We know the title, the name of the book, is giving us a clue. Is it A, fiction, made up? B, nonfiction, about real things? C, poetry? Or D, a how-to book that's going to tell me how to do something? Again, it's called How to Play Football. Think about it a minute. Football's not made up, so we know it's not fiction. It's a book, and I don't see anything rhyming, so we know it's not poetry. But it says in the title, How to Play Football. This book is going to teach me how to do something. So we know it's a how-to book. We're going to circle D. How do we know this is a how do you know this is a how-to book? I know this is a how-to book because it teaches me of how to play football. So teaches, T E E E ch ch C H S, teaches me, M-E, how, H-O-W, to, T-O, play, P, L, A, say, A-Y, football, F, O, T, B, A, L. Teaches me how to play football. All right, number 4. Is this book fiction, nonfiction, poetry, or how to? It's called Sea Turtles. Let's listen to the text and see if we can find a clue to find out what it's about. Sea turtles are gentle creatures. They swim gently through the ocean and they can live to be 100 years old. Scholars, is this book about something that's made up, something that is real, about poetry, or is it going to show me how to be a sea turtle? The name is called Sea Turtles. We know sea turtles are not made up, so we know it's not fiction. We know that the title doesn't say how to, so we know it's not a how-to book. So our options are either fiction about real things or poetry. Which one do you think? If you said nonfiction, you're absolutely right. This book is a nonfiction book. It's about a real thing. So we're going to circle the letter B, nonfiction. I know because sea turtles are real. So let's write sea turtles are real. C, S, E, E. New word, turtles, T, R, T, L, S, sight word R, A-R-E, and then real, R, E, L. Okay. We're going to do number 5 today, and then we're going to stop there and leave the rest of the packet for tomorrow. So last one. Number 5. Is this book fiction, nonfiction, poetry, or how to? This book is called Let's Get Started Learning About Flowers. So let's get started learning about flowers. Flowers come in all shapes and sizes. Some flowers smell lovely, other flowers have vibrant colors. Different flowers grow all around the world. Scholars, this book is telling me about flowers. Is this A, fiction, made up, B, nonfiction, about real things, C, poetry, or D, how to? Well, we know flowers are real, so we know it's not fiction. And it doesn't say how to be a flower, so we know it's not a how-to book. I also see that it's about flowers and it's going to be all about flowers, and it's a book. It's pretty long. So I know it's not poetry because nothing's repeating and it's not very short. It has to be B, nonfiction. It's teaching me about flowers. So we're going to go ahead and circle the letter B, nonfiction. How do we know? It teaches us about flowers. So let's go ahead and write that. T, E, 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 or CH, teaches, S, about, I'll help you with that one, ABOUT, flowers, FLL, OW, S. So we know this book is real because it teaches us about flowers, and flowers are real things. That's all we're going to do today, scholars. As an extension to this enrichment packet today, if you see a book in your home, try to find different books. Tell your parents if it's fiction about a made-up story, nonfiction about a real thing. Maybe some of you have books that have poems in it, and that's a poetry book, or some of you might even have a how-to book, like a cookbook in your kitchen. And if that's the case, you can ask your parents to show you. I know you might be really tempted to move on to number 6 of this page, but please stop at number 5. We will be continuing number 6 tomorrow. I'll see you soon, and I hope you have a good day.